The biggest shock landing in Singapore wasn't the humid air or the blinding efficiency. It was the quiet, unsettling realization that all those assumptions I'd carried like a shield for years, that ingrained expectation of transactional indifference, simply evaporated here, leaving me exposed and quietly furious at my own foolishness. I landed, ready for a fight, and instead found myself disarmed by a smile and a soft thank you, la. Before I even touched down at Changi, my head was buzzing with all the usual narratives. You know, the stuff that gets tossed around online, the memes, the little whispers about mainlanders and how we supposedly behave. Loud, demanding, maybe a bit uncivilized. It wasn't just about what they might think. It was about the constant, exhausting self-consciousness it bred in me. The silent pressure to overcompensate, to be extra quiet, extra polite, to somehow prove myself better than the stereotype, to avoid becoming that tourist. It's draining, really, trying to preempt every potential judgment. I was ready for the famous Singaporean efficiency, sure, but also bracing for a certain aloofness, maybe a politely veiled disdain, the kind that makes you feel like you're just another cog in their well-oiled machine. I just wanted a hassle-free trip, you know? No drama, no dirty looks, no feeling like I was intruding. Just blend in, survive, and leave. A la Mark, the mental gymnastics I put myself through. But from the moment I cleared Changi immigration, something felt different. It wasn't just the sleekness of the airport or the speed of the check-in. It was the way my passport was handed back. The soft, lilting lilt of the officer's voice. The genuine courtesy that felt less like trained protocol and more like a default setting. No cold stare, no perfunctory grunt. Just a pleasant, almost curious interaction. It wasn't the cold, almost surgical efficiency I'd mentally prepared for. It was something quieter, gentler, unsettlingly warm. My carefully constructed mental armor, the one I'd worn for years, ready for any subtle slight, any implied criticism, started to feel heavy, unnecessary, almost foolish. It was like going into battle fully armed, only to find the enemy offering you a cup of kopi. Take public transport. Anywhere else, even the thought of navigating peak hour is enough to trigger a low-grade anxiety attack. The elbows, the jostling, the sheer competitive urgency to get ahead. But here, everyone queues la. Not just a queue, but a proper queue. You see the line, you join the back. No pushing, no jostling. Even when the MRT is packed like sardines, everyone just waits. And when the doors open, people actually let others alight first. Not a single soul tries to keong in. It's like this unspoken social contract, deeply etched into the collective consciousness, a subtle choreography of mutual respect. It makes you question your own reflexes, that ingrained instinct to dart, to claim, to protect your space. You find yourself, almost against your will, falling into step, quietly observing, and feeling a strange sense of calm. It challenges your very notion of how society functions when people simply expect decency from one another, rather than bracing for competition. There's a certain quiet dignity to it, almost like a meditative practice, which, let me tell you, is a foreign concept when you're usually fighting for a spot. It makes you realize how much mental energy you waste just preparing for conflict. And the service, xiao, it's relentless, in the best possible way. I had a minor health issue, a quick checkup. Back home, that would be a bureaucratic nightmare, hours of waiting, terse interactions, a sense of being just another nameless patient in a sea of faces. Here, for less than 100 Singapore dollars, I was guided through the process by 4 different nurses, each one patient, explaining every step, genuinely ensuring my comfort. No rushing, no air of being put out, no feeling like I was taking up too much of their precious time. It wasn't some VIP package. It was just how it is. And this wasn't limited to hospitals. From the makcik at the hawker center, expertly flipping roti prata early in the morning, who'd still give me a soft smile and a gentle thank you, to the sales assistant in an air-conditioned mall, where I was just browsing designer brands I couldn't afford. The same underlying warmth permeated every interaction. It felt less like a job requirement, a mandatory customer service script, and more like a fundamental aspect of their being, a genuine inclination towards pleasantness. It's unsettling, really, when you're not used to it. The word thank you here isn't just a courtesy. It's a living, breathing part of the daily rhythm. They say it when you order. They say it when they bring your food. They say it when you pay. Sometimes you say thank you to them, and they respond with a soft, thank you la. It throws you off, you know? My brain literally paused the first few times. Why are they thanking me? For ordering? For listening? For simply being there and engaging in a transaction? Or just as a gentle acknowledgement? A graceful punctuation mark to a fleeting moment of human connection? It took me a while, but I started to understand. It's not an obligation. It's a subtle recognition of shared space, shared time. It's a quiet hum of mutual respect, weaving through the urban fabric. It makes you feel seen, not just as a customer, but as a person. It's not a burden. It's a small magic that makes things a bit warmer, and it makes you question why you ever thought politeness was just a facade. Initially, the city itself felt like a concrete jungle, the gleaming skyscrapers almost aggressive in their pursuit of modernity. The humidity, the dense urban sprawl, it felt like a perfectly calibrated machine. You land, and you see the perfect gardens, the immaculate roads, and you think, okay, this is sterile perfection. But scratch beneath that polished surface, and you find a different kind of texture. The quiet hawker centers where generations gather, hunched over bowls of noodles, the bustling wet markets with their own distinct commerce, the HDB blocks that, though uniform, hold countless individual stories, whispered into the tropical breeze. It wasn't the sterile future I'd envisioned. It was a vibrant, evolving present, holding onto its past with a gentle but firm hand. The streets are remarkably clean, yet you rarely spot a rubbish bin, making you wonder where all the trash actually goes, a testament to collective responsibility. Or an invisible army of diligent cleaners working behind the scenes? It's a place of subtle contradictions. Fast-paced yet patient. Old-world charm nestled within futuristic architecture. A constant hum of activity that somehow never feels chaotic. The lack of visible rubbish bins. The quiet order. It all made me feel a peculiar sense of shame about the casual littering I sometimes witnessed, and perhaps even participated in. Elsewhere, it was a silent, powerful lesson in civic pride. And the taxi uncles, God bless them, they're like roving philosophers and unscheduled tour guides. One evening, after I'd somehow messed up my Grab app, my driver, instead of just complaining, patiently walked me through my phone settings, explaining why my notifications weren't coming through. Next time you come, you won't get lost anymore, right, our girl? He chuckled, as if ensuring my future navigation was his personal mission. Another uncle, seeing my phone battery was dying, didn't just offer to charge it. He pulled out an entire arsenal of cables from his glove compartment. For iPhone, for Android, anyone you need also got. La, he announced, his face beaming with a quiet pride in his preparedness. They'd talk about the changes in Singapore, the good old days, the seasonal blooms of the yellow flame trees painting the expressways gold, sometimes even lamenting the quieter roads, a subtle nod to the reduced tourist traffic from up north. No bitterness, no political agenda, just a plain, factual observation of how things have changed, and a gentle hope for things to pick up again. It felt honest, vulnerable even. A shared human moment between two strangers. They gave directions with uncanny precision, often estimating travel times as accurately as Google Maps, sometimes even offering alternative routes based on potential traffic, like they were personal navigators. Their advice wasn't just practical. It was infused with a genuine desire for you to have a good time, to experience their city in the best possible way. Then there was the last uncle, driving me to Changi. A man in his 40s, a bit portly, but with kind, knowing eyes, who'd spent his entire life crisscrossing this island. He'd never traveled beyond these shores, yet he spoke of distant lands with the familiarity of a seasoned explorer, piecing together the world through the snippets shared by countless passengers in his back seat. His joy was palpable, uncomplicated, found in the simple act of connecting, of sharing a piece of his world, and in turn, gaining a glimpse of theirs. He wasn't just a driver, he was a living archive, a second-hand storyteller, his eyes alight with genuine curiosity, genuinely happy in his simple life. It made me realize that sometimes, the most profound wisdom, the deepest contentment, isn't found in traversing the globe, but in truly understanding the small, rich corner you call home, and sharing it with every soul who passes through. It felt profoundly pure, a kind of contentment I hadn't truly believed existed without constant external validation. The constant, relentless barrage of genuine kindness was almost disorienting. It chips away at your cynicism, leaving you feeling strangely vulnerable. It makes you want to reciprocate, not out of obligation, but because something fundamental inside you has shifted. The discomfort of realizing that it wasn't just one or two nice people, but that most people here simply operate with this default setting of warmth and integrity was a profound, uncomfortable revelation. It forced me to look inward, to question what I bring to an interaction, how much of my own guardedness is a self-fulfilling prophecy, how much joy I might have missed by always expecting the worst. It's hard to sit with that kind of truth, to admit that your own prejudices were blinding you, making you miss out on something real. As the plane finally lifted off, the glittering expanse of Singapore shrinking beneath me, it wasn't just a collection of memories I was leaving behind. I was leaving behind a chunk of my own preconceived notions, gently worn away by an unexpected tenderness. And in its place, this quiet, nagging question lingered, a question that refused to be dismissed. How many other walls have I built? How many gentle connections have I missed? Just because I was so busy staring at labels, always expecting the worst, always bracing for the unkindness I had, perhaps unconsciously come to expect from the world and from myself?